Please take a seat. I don't know if all the tables will be full. I suggest that if you are not too many people at one table, you join another table. So we have full table because we're going to start with an experiment and we need to have people all around the table. So please, I don't know, feel free maybe to join this table or to dispatch the best way possible. Yeah. Or maybe stay here and other people can join. And if additional people join, they can come to this table maybe. Okay, wonderful. Welcome everyone. I'm Brigitte Perrin and I will be presenting to you today the Earth Info Hub. But first of all, we will start with an experiment, as I said. In front of you, you have small cardboard tubes. And there is a surprise in it. You will soon be able to open it. But you also have a silver plate in front of you. And on this silver plate, we will be putting something special on that silver plate. And the whole game will be to pass this silver plate to your neighbor. So go ahead, you can open your cardboard tube and wear the mask. Put your mask on your eyes. Is it okay? No one is cheating, right? Oh, good. So we can go ahead. Fred, is it okay?
So I'm giving you something in your hands. Okay.
Fred, you need to take a mic.
Which you simply have to hand over to your neighbor on your right. It's very easy to do. Here on your left.
Don't you touch what's on the plate?
For those online, we are putting small blue marble in the shape of a globe, planet, on the silver plate, and people have to hand it over to their neighbor without having the marble to fall. Of course, you are not allowed to touch the marble. You just need to touch the plate. If you touch the marble, you have lost. And it needs to go back to the next person. Okay. How many marbles did fall? A few marbles fell already. Now try to do it a bit quicker. We try to do it quicker.
Yeah, we don't have time to lose.
We don't have time to lose. There is urgency. You need to hand it over back to the first person who take it. Okay, you can stop. We can stop the game. You can remove your mask. It's a present for you. You can keep it with you, of course. So I saw a couple of marbles who fall off, of course. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, welcome to Intent Davos, and thank you for joining us at this event. The game you just played with the marble is a metaphor of how we deal with environmental challenges. It's a very delicate balance, actually. This little blue marble, here, Maybe it rings a bell for you. This little blue marble is all we have, really. It could fall, it could break, and yet we handle it blindfolded in the dark. The Enlightenment, our times, at least until recently, taught us that the bedrock of dialogue is truth, not faith. And not any truth, but the truth established by science, a method that allows contradiction, a method always ready to prove itself, a method that stands regardless of what is said or done. In the face of the enormous environmental challenges ahead and our collective responsibility in them, two attitudes are possible. The first one is reason. It involves establishing what is really happening and what we can do about it. It often involves hard choices based on hard facts, but of course it is costly on the short term. The second attitude is inversion, saying for psychological comfort and political gain that climate change is not a threat, saying that scientists are the threat, saying that any limit is an attack. It is us against them. This is the opposite of dialogue, the reason for political paralysis. We are here today to do something about it, because science is here. We have all the world's science at our fingertips, using our phones, the vast resources of the internet. It is so vast, actually, that our brains can't process them. And therefore, we lose trust. Trust in scientists, trust in collective ability to solve problems together. Our goal here is to bring science back to the surface, to make it not only available, but accessible, understandable to everyone according to their needs and their time constraints, using their words and their language and feeding the vast corpora of knowledge that the scientific community has built. Truth, trust, and talk. They allowed us to achieve so much. We have gathered here exceptional panelists, so please, panelists, come here on the stage. And we have an exceptional audience as well, of course. And I will now ask our experts, what is the main problem they have in accessing science and knowledge, each in their respective area. Then, after that, with your support, we will launch the Earth Info Hub to do something about it, about science and about our planet. So first of all, our panelists here, I will ask them first to tell us what is, in one sentence, the consequences of this climate environment disinformation in their sector, starting with Dr. Taufik Jelassi, Assistant Director General for Communication and Information at UNESCO.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. For UNESCO, climate and environmental disinformation erodes trust. For us, trust is fundamental. And let me here quote the 2021 Nobel Peace Prize laureate, Maria Ressa, who said, "Without facts, there is no truth. Without truth, there is no trust. And without trust, there is no common reality upon which we can act." So we are here assembled, different key stakeholders this afternoon in Davos, to tackle this very important issue of environmental and climate disinformation, so we can hopefully help decision makers with truthful, trustworthy information. And for that, UNESCO believes we need to have a global, holistic, multi-stakeholder approach if we want to have any impact.
Thank you very much. And in one sentence again, give the floor to Gilles Marchand. He's the founder of Legitima, and he's the former head of the Swiss Broadcasting Corporation, so he knows a lot as well about public service. Gilles.
Thank you. Hello. I think also that misinformation about the climate and the environment is emblematic of the political polarization that leads to misinformation and mass manipulation. And all of this affects trust in the media, as said before, which is only 40% today overall. And that's very, very concerning for the future of our democratic societies. So I think we need to put it on the top list of our priorities.
Thank you, Gilles. The floor now to Luca Baione from the Italian Air Force. He was the former permanent representative of Italy at the World Meteorological Organization, and he's an expert actually in climate and security. In one sentence, what is your main problem, Luca?
Well, we all know what the impact of climate change is on different sectors of our civil societies. I would focus on two segments of our societies. The first is the government level, the policymakers level. The second is the public opinion. If disinformation and manipulation of information, which are even worse than climate change, they impact our policymakers, they impact on their transparency in doing policy, in their transparency in doing rules. Maybe even worse is the impact on public opinion. Because if the perspective of public opinion is diverted, is influenced maliciously, this means at the very end that they lose confidence, the discontent will rise, and in civil societies, which are founded on democratic principles and on rule of law principles, this will bring the breach of cohesion and solidarity. They are, in military terms, the center of gravity of the Western society.
Thank you, Luca. Professor Markus Leipold from the University of Zurich, Swiss Finance Institute. What is the main problem with accessing trusted information on science, Markus?
Try to stick to one sentence. Our research on the social cost of greenwashing has shown that the annual cost on society by misinformation in the climate space is around 2% of GDP.
Thank you very much. And Axel Mazzolo, you are the founder of the Geneva Institute for Artificial Intelligence Governance. In one sentence, what is the problem for you?
Well, thank you, Brigitte. Hello, everyone. I've been in the financial sector more than 20 years, and I just realized how it was very impactful when we have the wrong information. It can lead to some deep issue in terms of compliance, in terms of a risk assessment. And so that's why we decided to create our institute, because for us it was important to turn information into a very strategic assets through AI governance. So what we do, it's exactly important to give trust on what we're doing.
So now we know what we will be talking about. I will give a chance to each of our speakers to explain a little bit more in detail what they're doing. I think it will be more comfortable for the other speakers. We'll start with Dr. Celassi, and I will call your name when you're in for your short presentation, but you will feel more comfortable sitting at the table, I think. So only Dr. Celassi, you can stay.
Thank you very much, Brigitte.
So, Dr. Celassi, you can tell us what is information integrity and why does the world need information integrity?
So information integrity is, I mentioned in my opening remarks, first of all, fact-based, trustworthy information that can guide policy makers in developing strategies to combat, of course, or to address the environmental crisis. We don't want to see information that is based on denial, on manipulation, on misinformation. So I think we understand what it is. It's a subset of disinformation, globally speaking. The focus is on climate change and the environment. You know that last year, the World Economic Forum of Davos put mis and disinformation as the #1 global risk. This year is the #2 global risk. In the UN Secretary General report of last March, this and misinformation was also put the #1 global risk from a UN perspective for 2 reasons. The harmful dimension in disinformation for individuals, communities, societies, for business as well. But second criterion used for this ranking is countries are very vulnerable to it. Countries are not ready to address it and to combat it. So I think we all know what we talk about. And of course, we need to protect the information ecosystem. And this is, I know that you have a table here for media. Of course, media is very important. We did 2 years ago, we celebrated the World Press Freedom Day of May 3rd through a UNESCO global conference with 4,000 people. At that conference, the focus was the role of the media in addressing the issue of climate disinformation. You may know today that the highest number of killed journalists are environmental journalists. UNESCO has been for 3 decades the United Nations Observatory for the killings of journalists. So we know what we are talking about. And we tabulate figures across the board. But we see a major surge in targeting and killing environmental journalists, not only by authorities, but by economic cartels and business interests.
Dr. Chelasi, if I may, because we
Sure.
have only
Please.
3 minutes per
Please.
person to allow the audience here to collaborate
Yes.
and to discuss. So can you tell us, there was a declaration that was launched at COP30. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, we launched in Belém this past November a declaration to very much address information integrity and make it part of the leaders' declaration. And that happened for the first time ever in the COP conferences. This is subsequent to November 2024, when the G20 summit in Rio de Janeiro had a declaration creating the global initiative on information integrity for climate change. And they asked UNESCO to be the secretariat, the coordinator of this global initiative on information integrity for climate change. So far, we have 13 member states who joined this initiative. We have more than 30 countries who signed the Belém Declaration. And obviously, we are making some major headway, asking for more member states to join in. UNESCO has 193 member states. So I may say 13, that's a small number, yes, but the initiative is only 1 year old. So I'm here also to do a bit of advocacy, to make you aware of it. We'll be glad to give you more information. We support projects around the world on this issue.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chelasi, and thank you for your support. I know you'll talk a little bit more about it towards the end. Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
now I'm happy to call Gilles Marchand, founder of Legitima, former head of the Swiss Broadcasting Corporation. He will tell us a little bit about how are the economic and political constraints of public service media hampering the delivery of trusted information. Gilles.
Well, you know, it's not only about public service media, it's about media. And media today have to face a huge crisis based on political pressure, that's one, but also on advertising decline. Advertising is crashing, moving, transferring to digital platforms that are not reinvesting in the market, that are not producing something. And it's also important to say that it's more and more difficult to sell content, because people do believe today that content and good content is a sort of free commodity. So if you had all those things, and then if you put on top of that the political pressure on public service, then you have the perfect storm. And the perfect storm is not something just for today. It's a long-term issue. It's a long-term problem. And I think that we need to do something against this development. Otherwise, we will have to stay on societies without media looking for reality, looking for checked information. And I don't know how is that for you, but for me, it's not a very nice perspective. So I think it's important to act.
Thank you very much, Gilles. Thank you also for being the gatekeeper of public service in Switzerland. Thank you. General Luca Baione, as former permanent representative of Italy for the World Meteorological Organization, what can you say? Why is reliable information about climate and environment so key for defense and security actors? And what have you observed during these 4 years you spent as a permanent representative?
Okay, and to answer the question, I would like to to make a fil rouge between environment and security. And I will bring 3 samples to give the idea, to raise the perception of the strong link between environment and security. Starting from 1997, which is almost 30 years ago, a UN agency, UN Environment Program, for the first time stated that soil degradation brings to poverty, to food security, and eventually it can bring to crises and conflicts. Was written and was stated in the report of UN Environment Program in 1997. The report is there. It's not written by experts in defense and security. It was written by experts in environment. The second point I would like to raise, it is about the other environment, the marine environment, the sea environment. You may know that 30% is the increase of acidification of the oceans since the period, the pre-industrial period. And the forecast is that the acidification of the oceans will raise 100% by the end of this century, compared with the pre-industrial period. This means alteration of the biodiversity, alteration of the environment, and this brings to food security for those people relying on this kind of sustainment, where people cannot eat, cannot bring on the table for themselves and their families something to eat. The path to the crisis, the path to the conflict is very short. And this brings me to the last sample. The period 2006-2011 was a very drought period with regard to the Middle East area. In Syria, people started lacking the very essential for eating, for bringing something on their tables. And this, where crops failure, livestock loss, brought people to migrate. And this brought also to the problem of water management, because lack of water is another essential element which cannot miss. This brings all those aspects are related to security.
So what does it mean in terms of narrative? What will happen if not everyone shares the same information, or if not everyone gets access to reliable information, in short?
This means that policymakers are distorted in their commitment, and their issuing laws, their rules are not benefited by transparency and by information which are scientific based.
Thank you very much, General Baione. Markus Leopold, from University of Zurich and Swiss Finance Institute. Marcus, for you, I know you are a strong believer in AI, but also seeing the risks of AI if we don't bring the human at the center. Can you explain about that?
Well, I see AI as something which we could all benefit very much, but at the same time, there is also a lot of danger involved in it, especially in the field of misinformation. And again, we have shown in a paper that if the information environment is degraded already too much, for the misinformation producer, it is actually optimal to flood the zone. I don't want to use the same word as Steve Bannon used, with misinformation. And the problem is that AI, if we want to verify claims with AI, AI is not yet there where it actually should be. So in order to improve AI in a way that it actually can do verification at scale, we need to have humans in the loop, and especially scientists in the loop, because AI has become so good already that normal citizens would not understand the subtle differences in what AI is telling us.
So, okay, what you suggest now, and Marcus, I must say, was leading this project as well in terms of building an infrastructure to host an AI, and I will talk about it later. But how do you see the human being involved? How does it work?
So basically AI, I mean, when we say AI, everybody means generative AI. Or most of us mean generative AI, which is basically just a translator of some fundamental text that is underlying the algorithm. So what humans actually may have to make sure is that AI is building on trustworthy documents, trustworthy scientific facts. And for that, you need to have human oversight. And you need to have a human oversight that is actually trustworthy. So this is where the key human element comes into play.
Thank you very much, Marcus. And finally, so we've seen that there is a problem, that it has consequences on the operations all over the world. We suspect that there is a solution with AI, but we need a trusted infrastructure of AI. And for this, I'm calling Dr. Axel Mazzolo, the director of the Geneva AI Governance Institute, to explain to you a little bit more in detail how important is it to have a governance when it comes to building trust through AI.
Thank you. So we were lucky last year with our foundation because we get a lot of invitation around the world. We have been in Mumbai to talk about that, in Canada to talk about that, and it's clear this subject about AI governance is a very important topic. And that's the things that we just realized. It's most of people doesn't know at all what's going on when we talk about AI governance. And as we discuss right now with China, with US, with corporate and institution, we can see that there is a gap of information between, I would say, the top leader and the others. So first, it's important to understand what's going on with this name. To understand AI governance, first, you have to know about AI. The AI that you will put on your company, the AI that you will use, how the data is trained, how we use in terms of implementation, the purpose. So that is understand what is AI, because you cannot govern something that you don't know. So that's very important. The second thing is that as company or as institution, you need to have the clear goals or setting some rules that you know exactly what you want your AI to do. So that's why if you link the knowledge of AI and the purpose of your company and the rules that you put in your company, you have a better understanding on what is the AI governance. So I think that this is very important that people understand that this topic is very crucial for them.
Thank you. And maybe a word about what could maybe Switzerland do for that and why Switzerland is a good place to build an AI?
Sure. Well, we all agree that Switzerland is a very unique place for AI, and we have a very strong ecosystem. We have UNESCO, we have ITU for the standards, we have the CERN for the technicity, university. So it's clearly a place that we have skills. We have the ecosystem. We have the pilot with the companies. So and also the Swiss government are very open in terms of regulation. They are willing, they are more happy to let companies and institutions to test and to bring their solutions. So I think that all this ecosystem brings trust and integrity for the information.
Thank you very much, Axel. So, thank you. Just take it. So I think we have started to understand. Sorry about that. Has anyone the remote control? Oh, okay, good, perfect. So now we've seen what the context is. We've seen what the challenges are on the ground. And we have seen also that AI could be a solution. So I'm happy right now to present you what is the Earth Info Hub. The Earth Info Hub is an initiative that I'm leading with a couple of great professionals who wanted to involve in it, and all the speakers are part of this brilliant crowd. The Earth Info Hub is a place where we want to gather the knowledge and the information about science in climate and environment. And we want to make sure that people can access it. So it's a twofold approach, artificial intelligence and human intelligence. Maybe let's start with the human intelligence part, and we'll get back with a surprise to the artificial intelligence part. So we have in the world a lot of different networks. Maybe you can move to the next slides. We have a lot of different networks existing, and the worst we could do is to create another one. And we don't want to reinvent the wheel, but we think that these networks, these existing organizations whom we are talking to, we think that they need to find a place where they can also share and find their information. So it's really, this project is really about bringing people together to make sure that in a very quick turnaround we could, for example, organize, I don't know, a masterclass for mayors who are seeing an upcoming heat wave that will damage the center of Europe. Or, for example, a group of media who in Africa who want to cover a situation of floods, and they need to talk to water experts very quickly. At the moment, there is no such place existing that brings you to the right people, to the right networks very quickly. It needs to go through organizations and processes and so on. Now, our problem is that we need to move fast. Why? First, because AI is moving very fast. It's changing as we speak. Second, because disinformation is growing at an unprecedented rate, as we all know. And third, because still there is a climate and environment urgency. 3 good reasons to move very fast. And this is the reason why we didn't want to wait. And thanks to Said, please come, Said. I want to introduce you to the audience. Said is a climate scientist, Aryo Said Vagafi. He's a climate scientist, and he's also AI builder, engineer. I don't know how we can say it. You can take a seat. So Said very quickly, in less than 2 weeks, built a quick and dirty tool to show how it could feel to have actually an AI built on trusted sources. So, ready to try it? So, we have a question here. How does extreme weather impact the economy? It's a very basic one, okay? And again, we are talking about very easy questions, because most of the time people have very stupid questions that they don't know the answer to. Okay. So let's see how a commercial GPT is responding to this question. Maybe Said, you can just step next to me. This is ChatGPT, but could be another one, right? We are asking this question again, how does extreme weather impact the economy? We are getting an answer that looks great, right? It's clear, simple, short, etc. However, if you look a little bit closer, you will see that there are only 3 sources of information that are outlined here. And among these 3, you have one that is a reinsurance company, not saying that it's not a good source, but has it been peer-reviewed? Has it been done scientifically? This we don't know. The responses are very general and non really actionable. Then we tried with earthinfo.ai to ask the same question, and we got answers from 13 verified sources. 13 sources out of 100. We created this pilot with only 100 reports, all released in 2025 for the sake of the test, of the demo, right? And from 24 organizations that we think can be seen as trusted organizations. So here you get different answers. On a more advanced version, we could have a summary of all these answers grounded in science. And as you can see, not only you have the figures and the hard facts, but you also have the reference and the page number. So this is just to show the difference. And this is, Said will be here at the end of this session, and if you want to have a demo, a tailor-made demo, please reach out to him, sit with him for 2-5 minutes, and he will show you around. It is publicly available. He will show you how it works. So for me, this is bringing science back to the surface. And what we are hoping to do is to, on the AI side, build a strong tool that can include thousands of sources from very diverse types of sources, and that it, of course, includes a strong methodology to select the trusted sources on criteria that are not only scientific, but also communication criteria, because communication is very important. If we don't understand a report, then it will not serve the purpose of the report. So, thank you very much, Said. And
I should just confess one thing.
Yes, go ahead.
It was done in 2 weeks, but based on extensive publication and research that we have done over the last couple of years, starting from 2019, publications in Nature, computer science community. So the pipeline, everything is very robust and trustworthy. So thank you.
A big round of applause for Said. Now it's your turn. I will make you work a little bit. So here we have each speaker, we have 1 speaker per table, more or less. What I want to ask you, and the moderator, the speakers will explain to you table by table, but I really want to ask you what such a tool, how such a tool could be useful to you. So if I had a magic wand, I would like the Earth Info Hub to do this and that. To start with, because not everyone is aware of their own needs, I would like you in pairs with your neighbor to exchange for just 2 minutes what is your problem and why is it difficult for you to find reliable information. So you are aware of your problem, and then in 5 minutes, we'll turn to the solutions and we'll not address problems anymore. We'll just talk about solutions. So we can go ahead for 4 minutes, 2 minutes each with your neighbor. What is your main problem?
What is your problem, my dear?
My main problem is the fastest growing power technology right now is burning wood. Whereas everybody talks about some fancy stuff, burning wood is the issue. It's growing in all places of the world, and this. The UN statistics have created a monster which says that you have zero emissions when you burn wood out of the power station, and then you count some, you do some mathematics on, yeah, but you count all of the forest in a country, and you don't count just what you cut, so you don't know the impact of what you're cutting. Yeah. And when I've been fighting this for several years now, and putting up finding all the scientific knowledge on this. It takes ages just to find it. It has required that I really wanted it and really understood it, and on the way I'm all the time met with arguments from governments, from the UN, from wood forest organizations. They just throw things in my head and say you have misunderstood it. So I really had to be persistent to realize that I understood it. And when I found some confidence was, of course, when I found the scientific way, saying what are the consequences. But it's been like in two separate worlds. There's been a scientific world and a political world, and they did not connect.
It's in the sense that scientific facts don't speak for themselves.
Yes.
To find a way translates for policymakers in a way that in a kind of neutral way. So
yeah.
What we sometimes find is that human-to-human interaction is often very biased in the sense that
So if you haven't yet, you can switch to the other person, to your other neighbor, just so everyone has expressed himself.
when we talk about solutions, then it would be something interesting to look at. You find some kind of modern AI moderation for politicians, so they don't think that you're just a moralist, blah, blah, blah. You don't really understand how the world works, and you have to make real policy.
Yeah.
When you looked at LLMs these days, would this somehow give you ideas about scientific literature, or did you already before the arrival of ChatGPT deal with this problem?
I used my university background to contact a number of scientific people, and they helped me find some of the key articles. And there was a protest written to the European Union back in 21. Even before that, also from 600 scientists who say this is wrong what you're doing. So when that was kind of my key to saying, okay, I actually did understand this. So that was my access, but I have a unique access because of my history, and not every industry person or climate activist or whoever will have that.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'll let you finish your sentence.
He burns wood for heating his home.
Yes.
And I don't think that.
Okay, thank you very much. So now you've heard the problems, the issues for everyone. Okay, we more or less know what is the problem. Each of us, we have expressed it.
It's growing
Now
CO2 emission per energy unit.
we will move to the creative session. So we are asking you, like at each table, we need to nominate a rapporteur. This rapporteur will be listening to all the ideas. So please hand the magic wand in your hand when you're talking. Each person talking, you can take notes at the table, and the rapporteur will then come in the front and tell about what could be done, what could the Earth Info Hub be doing to solve the problems, and maybe you have a common answer as well. I introduce you to Frederic Ballenegger, who is helping us today with the team, and he will be listening to your proposals, your ideas, and try to group them at the end. So you have sticky notes on the table, and you can feel free to be as creative as possible. We have 15 minutes, not one more, because we are running a little bit late. So I would say maybe 13 minutes. So go ahead. And Aninia is our timekeeper.
Timekeeper, okay.
And she will tell us when we have only 3 minutes left.
Okay. In total, we have 15 minutes for this session, okay? So, and all about solutions. Thank you.
And climate and environment, if possible. Thank you.
So, who want to be rapporteur?
Volunteering for rapporteur.
No?
I can do that.
It's important to find someone because
So your task will be
No, English is not
maybe 2 minutes to the audience.
Okay.
And
My English is not enough good.
yeah,
but your English sounds perfect.
Yeah.
briefly, we could
It's only about
briefly wrap up what each team's problems were, and then we switch to the solutions.
I have to say, I need to leave before
We were
the
discussing
session. That's the reason why I can't
burning
do
wood,
that.
and that the scientific evidence
My English is horrible.
whether
So
burning wood is good or bad for the environment.
I think we need someone.
Everything is kind of very hidden
the ideas need to go to the others.
and neglected by politicians. And I've been working on that for quite some time, and it would probably, if I would think about the solution, be great if we would have kind of a system that would communicate to other parties in understandable form the scientific facts, because facts don't speak for themselves. You need to have some kind of translator, and AI as such could be a very unique opportunity to be such a human neutral translator.
They can make decisions.
That's what we have been discussing,
And there are fact-checking
my obvious
organizations
suggestion
and
for a
others to
solution
ensure
would be to
that environmental
incorporate
is evidence.
if we would have kind of a system that builds
Maybe
on
to
the
add something
scientific
in your
knowledge
direction, I would say that
solve
there is
the
a
communication part.
target to
Who wants to have the
target is
magic?
the media that are not enough strong to do that by themselves. Because they have no enough journalists to check, they have no enough time, they have no enough money to do the job. So if we can also provide good information in countries where the media outlets are a bit the problem, then it's going to be interesting. So it's something very useful for specifically for those kind of situations. Exactly, because they have to face too many problems. They can't do that. So that's kind of something so interesting.
No, I was thinking about the fact if it's possible to, when you ask to request to ChatGPT, I don't know, to have a kind of notation, the trust. The answer provide it's a 10 or it's a 5, because based on the
Misinformation.
I don't know if I'm very clear, but I say maybe it could be also interesting to know, okay, what I'm reading is not perfect, the base, there is no more, not too much information about that.
All truths are alike, but every lie is
asking GPT to rate
verification consumes such a lot of energy.
And are we in a volume game? Like you said, like producing this information series and so from the volume is this
information arms race, definitely. For misinformation producers,
is usable.
I show in game theoretic framework, most rational thing to do
Because we cannot speak the same language among scientists and with common people speaking with respect.
social platforms,
If we want to reach all levels of our society, the disinformation and language without
that's a good point.
avoiding the risk
Completely being very reactive to misinformation.
And it would require it to be established as an authority, right? So.
This is maybe something which I discussed as well. Before it starts creating with based on the source, you might need to have a portal where you show all the trustworthy information included, give kind of a quality rating and maybe an accreditation to it, because there will be more which you need to make it fly. It cannot be static, so we need to have instead not only make it reactive with information with this, as well as have a thorough process on the data pipeline. What kind of reports introduce it and give the user kind of the credibility, like we assessed according science parameters, trustworthiness, etc. This data set, did you accept kind of data sources? Exactly, because there will be now new sources coming up as well for other concerns. So you can kind of be an accreditation for which is like, okay, yes, there are institutions who publish papers which are heavily influenced, but other maybe non-scientific. So you can not only use this information
to customize.
but as well kind of show we assess the data sets, and here is like our science-based trustworthy, because in the future everyone who trains an AI, you're concerned about what do you take to treat how do you assess the quality, and if you have a certain sector or kind of data, a source where you can say like, okay,
You just
we
got the
assess
magic one to remember you need to take it with
it's science-based.
I'm insisting on that because the photographer likes it
For
when
your
you're
process, because when you're down the road, you have 100 more floors, you need to put in, and you need to make a thorough decision.
She wants to do.
To create this institution. So you need to have
I repeat the need for
accreditation
access to
process.
information, environmental information. That
On
is
the other side,
trustworthy.
we'll argue that they use the latest report from the DOE.
Yeah.
I've got an idea here. Maybe if we find a good system, something trustable with the system we develop, maybe can we try to start with other small partners, small companies, to do the same in other topics. For instance, in wealth issues or in insurance issues or I don't know what. But it's maybe the start of something that we can develop. Using the model we have to try to do something else, and so doing, trying to develop the best understanding of the problems that we
In principle, one could think about having
I have nothing to add.
persona. So
You have something? Yeah.
you want to get an answer as a non-emotional scientist, and there, for instance, the communication of uncertainties and scientific uncertainties, like the IPCC as a mechanism or kind of guideline on how to communicate the underlying uncertainty behind scientific facts. And that would also be very, very important for such a tool, because we don't want to overstate scientific claims. But then you could also have kind of I did these kind of things in the early days when I tried to explain my kids what is climate change based on the IPCC reports. Of course, I would not give them the IPCC assessment reports, but I would ask our chat climate to explain me what happens with in Africa, then it would start as kind of
C'est les sachants normalement.
kind of setup. Think of
Talking about fairy tales.
fairy tales
What do you suggest as a solution?
as a solution. Different personas.
We have,
Can I use that for work as well?
Yes. You will work together.
No, I mean, just to implement. Or I have to put
He's already a magician. Who wants to take the floor? Ideas?
We are already ready.
You did with everyone?
Yes, of course, they can
we did, yeah. Could I ask
You
you
are
just
writing
to
it up for us?
repeat your point just briefly?
To have an accreditation of information.
No, it's the accreditation, that's what, yeah, thank you, that was the word.
For the data pipeline, everything
Yes.
you need have a thorough accreditation process that it's
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So they can take information about ChatGPT, okay, they can write that climate change doesn't exist, okay, what they are could do, look, those information are not consistent with information
So don't forget to put bullet points or on sticky notes. We'll run for another 3 minutes and then we'll listen to the rapporteur.
It can be an idea to start with a label. The quality of the information that we're providing through the system will bring sort of label saying that's trustable.
Yeah, when the information is verified, trust.
we have an international level, the ISO.
I think that's a critical thing, whether you want to win the debate or you want to win the education side. Because it's really difficult in the debate. You want to stay with your science and your tool and stay objective.
Be consistent with those information or not.
I'm not saying it's not possible, but yeah.
Could have its own label.
No,
Dedicated
sometimes
to
not.
Earth certification.
More positive
Yes.
versus more negative.
Yeah. But it's like all the difficult thing about science is all these under the assumption that blah blah blah. You know, there's always assumptions and reservations, and so it makes it politically weak.
Davos 26 will be the start
So
of
there's something in expressing this, of course, staying in the scientific.
So, because we are a little bit late, we will conclude this part in 1 minute. 1 minute, and then please send reporters with your conclusions and your solutions.
Burning wood, for example, and then you can come with all the qualifications afterwards. But some main conclusions. Yeah. That would be a structure to how we present it.
I'm thinking about something that, sometimes when there is someone who do a speech, you can say a lot of bullshit, So maybe one day we will have an AI based on this certification, able to, in real time, say on the screen, this is bullshit, or this is certified, yeah? That's totally possible when there is a base of big data. Exactly. Yeah. In real time, it could be crazy.
Qu'est-ce que le Earth Info Hub a déjà avec nous? Et puis toi, en tant que
So, guys, who is the first magic wand holder who wants to come forth with solutions and what with whatever the Earth Info Hub is going to do for you? Please, my good sir.
Mic or just loud? Oh, thanks.
Garde-le parce que tu l'auras besoin.
Right, so we've discussed how to make a scientific-based AI tool meet the nonsense on the other side. How can we make that reliable through communications, through qualifying it with some kind of accreditation, with some clear conclusions, and then followed by reservations from science, of course, by adding some emotional expressions into the tool, and with a very important consideration that political discussions and the nonsense discussions often take place relatively quickly, and it takes a long time to come forward with a scientifically based response. So the idea to use AI actually to produce very fast, scientifically based responses is probably the strongest thought from here. Was that? Yeah. Who's next?
Is that correct, what I've written on the board? Anything I missed?
Accreditation, maybe.
Accreditation? Okay, will do. Who's next?
Right, thank you. So some of the solutions that we discussed was, one of them is bilateral communication up and down from global level to the local level and backwards, so you can actually get proper feedback loop on what's happening at the ground, what the communications is, what the direction is at the higher level. Connecting finance, in this case insurance, to climate affected areas, communicating that way, financially basically impacting people that live there. It translates also into, we don't like risk, we don't like to lose money, we don't like to do that. So we're going to try to avoid having our insurance rates go up. So we're going to try to do something about impact, hopefully. Also, science data translation to the general population.
I'll take it.
Okay. We don't have translators. We're talking science, so we're going to stay in science. We're talking politics, so we're going to stay in politics. We're talking finance, we're going to stay in finance. If we don't start bridging these gaps, massive gaps between how we understand the world, because we all understand it through our own vertical, we need to be able to pass through all of that. And that requires also systems thinking. And if we don't start thinking as ourselves, as our communities, our organizations, Davos as a system, we're not going to be able to actually make any sort of impact at the global level. And obviously, impact data is very important, because without it, if we don't trust the data, we can't trust what we built on top. Thank you.
Thank you. We were at the NGO table, and in the end, I think we gravitated around one big theme, and that is how to make this global information relevant at the local level, in context, and how to gain the trust of local communities to access this particular information from this particular EIH. And so that's it. They actually all focus on the same, that the trust, and that they can then take action. That's the biggest, that's the logic continuity. They access trustworthy information, and they have a way to act. Translations came in, and we realized this is just endlessly complicated, but if we could somehow manage to make this information accessible in Urdu and every language in the world, that would be brilliant. Have partnerships with other organizations, but it's a bit what you said, partnerships to build this trust and go beyond Geneva, you know, as the place where everything happens. There are three problems / solutions. One is our data always needs to be updated. One is our data always needs to be accurate, and it always needs to be certified in one way or another, and that's a huge task. So let's make sure we don't overdo it with our ambitions, but really find a way to add something useful to this issue. Environment is, yeah, and that's it.
To move
Yep.
on, so maybe
That's it.
okay. Wonderful, bravo. We have another one to go. We need to be a little bit quick. He's doing his homework late. Oh my God. It's okay. I can help you with the sticky notes. Don't worry.
So we have gone through different needs, starting from the environment need for trustful information, and we have come to the need to have a global-wide collaboration, and at the same time something which could raise from the very specific need in a specific sector and make a prototype or a flag project to be shared with other organizations. And I summarized in interagency collaboration, interdisciplinary approach. The first. The second idea popped up from the table is that the creation of a database which is already something where you have already delivered, Brigitte, in the handout papers you gave us about the terminology, a standardized terminology, a standardized approach, and this brings also to the need to have that kind of information accessible to different end users with different language to be usable by end users. Then a database shaped on end users' need. Finally, and maybe this is the most disruptive, if I may, suggestion, accreditate the hub with the International Standardization Organization so that the information provided by the hub are credited with regard to the list of international organizations and UN agencies you displayed earlier. And in turn, the information delivered by mass media and journalists can be labeled with green light because they meet and they respond and they're consistent with the information under ISO accreditation, or red label, they are not consistent with the scientific community information. And therefore, we wrote accreditation with ISO to raise credit on UN and international organizations whose information are provided.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Thank you very much. Fred, are you ready?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I can. Yep.
So I think we have clearly at least three conglomerates of suggestions and comments, and that's pretty consistent with what we have said so far. What I see in this, the first one is the need for quality and authority in the knowledge that is being distributed. I think there's a clear need to know what is reliable and to find ways to make this known. One table, I think it was yours, had the idea of credit rating for information reliability. I think that's a good idea. That's one of the many good ideas. Another group of comments here is translation and how to adapt to different audiences, different sectors, different needs, different ways, and different stakes. And I think that's also one of the strengths of the Earth Info Hub project, to have this in mind, particularly with the AI tool, but also with the human networks of networks part. Then we have this idea of global and local levels to adapt not only in terms of sectors, but also in terms of scale. And these are more scattered systems thinking, use emotions, and I think that's an important one, even if it's mentioned only once, because for communicators, emotions are key. And the time. I think it's also a very important aspect to be able to react quickly before the misinformation bubble grows. So that's my conclusions, and I think it kind of validates your model, Brigitte.
Congratulations to everyone. Congratulations to everyone. Thank you for your great ideas. Some are new, some are already in our mind, and we will make sure that these proposals are taken into account when we develop the tool. Now, I want to give the floor to our estimate speakers one last time to just ask them why they are in this room, why they support the Earth Info Hub, and how they see what kind of support they can bring to the Earth Info Hub, and what they think is already existing and we can count on. Starting with you, Gilles, because I know you need to leave early.
Yes. So, I think that the hub will be a network, but the hub should work as a network too. And we have some good organization already active in the media business. For instance, the EBU, European Broadcasting Union, 64 members acting all over Europe and more. We have the same organization in Asia, we have the same organization in Africa, and we have also the Média Francophone Public. That's another big network of media that are speaking together in French. And so using those kind of network, I think we should provide our good information in order to reach more and more people. So my idea is to avoid to stay alone with a nice tool, but alone. But the opposite, to propose the tool in some good networks, because then we will reach more people. And that's at the end of the day, that's the main goal. Thank you very much. And sorry I have to leave in another panel, but I really wish the best for your hub, and I'm glad to be there.
Thank you very much. And thank you to Gilles Marchand and some other speakers as well to be sitting in our senior advisory board. We want to move on with trust, and we have identified the most trustable people around as well to give us some advice as well. And this gives me the opportunity to give the floor to Luca, who is also sitting in our senior advisory board and can tell us what, in his perspective, the Earth Info Hub is ready to work on, what is already there, and how these networks can support very quickly.
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate for your initiative, Brigitte, because it really fills a gap of trustful information, but maybe more important, a gap of a network of expertise. And we can see different expertise around the table. It gives me the opportunity to say what my contribution could be, the contribution of the network I established in Italy, because I had the fortune to be at the same time the representative within a scientific community, WMO, and I want to recall that the motto of WMO of last year's 75th anniversary was Science for Action, which is very important, very deep in its meaning. And on the other side, I confront with the need of the security and defense environment and communities. putting them together, I bring this network on disposal of the hub, and the approach is exactly what we wrote there: interdisciplinary approach, interagency collaboration, and this is the added value of the hub, because you are filling the gaps. Instead of thinking in silos, we have to think together, because climate change is a problem for the whole humanity, for the human being in its entirety. If we don't confront with it standing together, we will fail.
Thank you very much, Luca. Then Marcus, what can you bring to the hub, and what do you know is already existing and ready for launch?
Well, you know, I think the problem that we are facing is that it's not that we do not have enough information. We have an information deluge, and we need to have efficient filters of information. I often give also talks to the finance industry because my background is mathematical finance, and the hype now is intelligence as the new asset class. But I don't think that, and I was talking about that in a keynote that I was giving just last December. I think the new asset class is actually verification, because we have no way to, you know, really understand the truthfulness of the information that we're facing each and every day. So we need to have efficient tools that allow us to really boil down to the truthful information, because misinformation as such has huge economic costs. So I'm talking now with my economic hat on. It has huge economic costs, and it will really hurt our economies in the future if we do not act now. And I think the hub that we intend to build is really optimally designed to attack this problem of not truthful information in the climate domain, and therefore very important.
Thank you very much, Marcus. Axel, do you want to say a few words how this connects?
So you ask two questions, and for the first question, I think why our foundation are willing to work with you, because, well, first we share the same roots. We come from Geneva together, and I think that as people know, Geneva, we are very focused on integrity, on science, and for us it's a very deep concern. And what we can bring, as you may know, we are working right now with China, US, and the Global South, because we are a member of ITU. For people that doesn't know who is ITU, they are making standards around the world for AI and all these different stuff. So we are very working closely with them in order to bring certification in AI. Okay, so we are very close to do this kind of thing. So I think that we will work on it, because I've seen that accreditation is something that is popping up very, very much. So we will work with you for that as we start our first pilot in Switzerland with some companies, and in Africa with some companies. I think that you will be also in the loop for sure. So, and yes, last things I just not forgot. I just came across to one of the paper that you were distributing on the table, and I've seen your investor speech. Very interesting. I think that in finance we really need to have some funds, and it's important to show that you need some funds. And I think that your document it's clear. And if you have time, just have a look. It's very important. I think that we will support also your funding partner. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Axel. And yes, do not hesitate to ask us. We have a couple of papers on investor speech, if you're interested, of course. And I'm happy to give the final words to Dr. Gelassi from UNESCO, who will tell how much UNESCO is important also for us in terms of fighting for information integrity as a whole. Dr. Gelassi, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Very briefly, I think there are 4 dimensions where we could collaborate. First of all, promote access to fact-checked environmental information. This is very important, as we said at the beginning. It's a matter of trust. It's a matter of helping policymakers, designing national policies, but also fostering international cooperation. I think this is 1. 2, UNESCO has been very much working on helping countries put in place access to information laws. In the early 1990s, there were about a dozen of countries that had access to information laws. Now we have more than 120 countries with access to information laws. So this is very important to enable everybody, of course, access information, having the right to raise questions, etc. Thirdly, I would say the concept that UNESCO put in place back in 2021, information should be treated as a common public good, not a public hazard nor a public harm. We have a declaration that was voted by all 193 member states on the concept of information as a public good. Here we talk about environmental information as a public good. And I would say, finally, UNESCO has been active on the digital front. You may know the landmark UNESCO recommendation of 2021, the first in the world normative instrument on the ethics of artificial intelligence, which has a dimension on the climate change issue and the environment. Today, it's still the only normative instrument in the world on this topic. We also have been developing digital tools that can help promote, of course, environmental information. And I think Earth Info Hub is open to people to use the information, to defend the information, and to contribute to information in that digital space. So again, our work on digital could be a 4th idea for future collaboration.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Gelassi, for the UNESCO wanting to support this project. It's extremely important for us as the support of all of you in the room. I want to also give a special thanks to the University of Zurich through Marcus and his team and Said, who made it possible to already build something to show the value of what we want to do. We want to do something bigger. We want to make it, as Dr. Gelassi said, a public good. It's not about people, just me and them. It's really about providing the world with public goods and providing also the businesses and different sectors with the information they need. Again, we don't have time. We need to act fast, and we need you to help us to act fast. I want to thank you all for your ideas, your brilliant ideas. We will follow up with an email summarizing these ideas and giving you some news about how this project is developing. I want to thank also a range of people. I counted up to more than 25 professionals who contributed their time pro bono in the past few weeks to build this project and to make it somehow ready for today. It goes from graphic design to people in this room, Fred, Anina, and Said, who worked tirelessly to make it happen. So thank you to all these people as well. I want to thank the Intent team, of course, and André Hoffmann, who made it possible for us to do this presentation in Davos. I think it's a good place to present such a solution, because this is where most of the people need trusted information as well. It's not only about having the floor at Davos, it's about reaching out to the people who need this trusted information. So thank you very much to André Hoffmann for that. Now, we know what we need. Thank you, yes, also, of course, to our 5 panelists. high-class panelists who also worked tirelessly on providing feedback on everything we prepared in the past few months. We started the initial discussions, Luca reminded me, back in September, initial discussions, and then until now, and with Marcus, we were even talking even before. So thank you very much for everything they have brought to the table. Now, we know what we need. We have some ideas of what we should do, what we can add to our initial ideas. Now, ladies and gentlemen, are we doing it? Do we want to create the Earth Info Hub?
Yes, we do.
Okay, it's created! Thank you very much, everyone, and I wish you a good World Economic Forum.
May I thank, on behalf of everybody, Brigitte, for having this terrific and wonderful idea. Thank you.
And if you want a quick demo of the AI tool, Said will be around.